Hi everybody, happy September. Really excited about this month. So August was a lot. The summer in general, like we've talked about, was really intense. I kind of just feel like the entire summer was a lot about just really deep transformation. We were doing the light body activations. We had the 30-day severing window where we were severing from the old operating system, from the old ego program mind system. And then August was just really intense, just overall. Lionsgate, right, was super intense. We kind of collectively did that quantum leap intention around 8/8. And so what I feel is that we did make that quantum leap. And so what happened is we jumped to the highest timeline. And then the rest of August was pretty much, when you go up levels, right? Then everything that no longer matches that level has to get brought up, has to be seen, has to be cleared, has to be transformed. And so we were almost like having to find our footing and stabilize into this, like the highest timeline. And that was a lot, just in terms of us personally, but also collectively, right? And now we are entering a really exciting period. So my download was that beginning September 1st is the day that Pluto goes back into the 29th degree of Capricorn. So we've been talking about this for a long time because this is the finalizing of a 16-year cycle, which started back in 2008 when Pluto first entered Capricorn. So during August, right, I talked a lot about, for those of you who joined me in like the Destiny Activation Seminar, we talked about the fact that looking at the area of your chart, right, where Pluto has been transiting for 16 years, and this could be a few, one or two houses in your chart, this is where there's a closure happening. I think in many ways, humanity and the collective, we are getting closure from this period because this was a very tumultuous period, right? Because Capricorn, in its shadow, is what is ruling and holding up the old world. I think I've mentioned this, but Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn, so those two were heavily kind of misused by the dark, Capricorn and Saturn's energy. And so a lot of the shadows of Capricorn are what are still kind of propping up that old system and old world. So we've gone through 16 years of really, I think, coming to this realization and this preparation for the fact that eventually this system is going to collapse. This system is no longer sustainable, and it's also not aligned with New Earth. And the New Earth systems and structures and ways of being and doing is very much going to be aligned with the Pluto in Aquarius era, right? Because we are entering the age of Aquarius. So we're having to basically wrap up this entire cycle, and I think we've been working through a lot of karma for 16 years because both Capricorn and Saturn also rule what our karmic contracts were, where we had unlearned lessons, basically. And so we're ending our karmic contracts in many ways, which has to do with our Saturn placements, and also, again, looking at those areas where Pluto's been transiting. If you've done the work, and you did the transformation, and you did the healing, and you did the releasing, and you made it through, right? This was a resilience test in many ways, a fortitude test. And so if we made it through that, we now are going to receive the harvest. That's just my download and what has been coming through. And then, of course, for those who did not resolve their karmic lessons and did not transform and and release and heal and kind of align themselves with the new templates, well, they're going to receive a different type of harvest. Okay, there's many ways to harvest, but for those of us who have done the work, we can anticipate a harvest in those areas of our lives where we've really just been doing the deep karmic work. And then we're going to see individually and globally the other type of harvest, which is going to be the karmic consequences of not basically working with that transit again in order to align to the Pluto in Aquarius era. And so September 1st, Pluto will go back to the 29th degree of Capricorn. It'll be there till November 19th. And so that entire window is being called the harvest portal. This is just my downloads from the angels, the galactics, mom, etc. And the harvest portal is going to have 3 phases to it. So the first phase is September, which my feeling on that was this was the karmic closure window. So a lot of the themes of September, which I'm going to get into, has to do with a final purging, detoxing, and realignment. And this is essentially to make space for the receiving of the harvest, which will come October. And then November is going to be a very magical, kind of beautiful energy in which I feel there's going to be a lot of new gathering, like givers gathering together, people beginning to form new networks, support systems, collaborations, co-creations, things like that. Basically kind of preparing for 2025, in which we have a total paradigm shift based on the astrology and on many other things. So this is the 3 kind of phases of this harvest portal. And so September, the themes, again, I know a lot of people are like, I feel like I've been doing the releasing and the purging and the detoxing for many, many years, and that's absolutely true. This is what I feel is a very final and deep level of detoxing, purging, releasing, in order to make space for new energy to come in, for new opportunities to come in, for changes in your life, for a lot of the things that we've been working towards, praying for, you know, all these things, and we have to make space for that to come in. And so we have a lot going on. So September 1st, besides Pluto going back into the 29th degree of Capricorn, we will also have Uranus going retrograde. Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, and so this has been why we've seen so much earth changes. I've talked a lot in the last couple of videos about we're in the solar maximum. So that is when we have the most light entering. Our magnetosphere is pretty much gone. So we are receiving huge influxes of light, which have helped with the light body integrations and stabilizations, but they can also cause a little bit of chaos, because when high frequency light meets density and those two collide, the density has to be released. And so this is happening individually for all of humanity, in which they have to release their personal density. But it's also happening with Mother Earth herself. So that's why we are seeing so much what I'm gonna just refer to as like earth anomalies, right? Increased earthquakes, flooding, weather anomalies that people can't really figure out and can't explain. This is part of the pole shift. You know, this is part of the earth changing and realigning to her natural state. So we are going to, I think, see with Uranus retrograde as well, there's going to be probably continued earth changes. And we're just gonna roll with it, right? We're gonna let Mother Earth do what she needs to do. But again, yeah, this harvest portal is really important because it's setting us up for 2025, which is, again, there is a total paradigm shift in 2025. Because the 3 outer planets are going to all be shifting signs. And on top of that, we have Saturn's going to shift signs. Jupiter, she changes every year. We're going to have the nodes shifting. There's a lot going on. And, you know, people like Cobra, for instance, for those of you who follow Cobra and read their intel reports, they have been saying for about 10 years that the ascension window began in 1975. We all know who was born in 1975. Mom was incarnated in 1975, so that lines up. That's when the ascension pulse, as he calls it, or the window for ascension opened. And that they say that it's going to close in 2025. I do somewhat resonate with that, because I think 2025, astrologically speaking and energetically speaking, that is when the ascension window is done. After that, it's kind of, you know, it's inevitable. So we want to, again, we always pray and want a smooth transition for as many people to align with the ascension as possible, because then, you know, come 2026, 2027, we have other huge, big cosmic cycles going on. Like 2027 is when we enter a completely new human template according to human design. And so the founder of human design and who channeled all this information, he, you know, when he first got the download, he saw 3 waves that would happen, ultimately the final one being in 2027, that would change the human template, right? Like basically we would be slowly but surely becoming galactic humans. So the first wave happened in 1987. That was when the harmonic convergence occurred. The second wave was 2012, when, you know, the Mayan calendar had predicted we would enter the 5th dimension, or the 5th dimensional frequencies would begin coming in, and then finally 2027. So all of that lines up. And so we've always kind of felt and known that 2024 was going to be pivotal in terms of, you know, preparing for those very massive, huge completions of cycles. And of course, you know, here in the United States, we have the elections coming up. We have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of disclosure coming out. We have this pressure that has really just, I think, reached its head. And it's going to be a very important time for the United States in particular, and for the collective that is here, right? And the United States will also be finishing its Pluto return this fall during the harvest portal, because the United States was founded with Pluto in Capricorn. And every time a country or an empire or whatever has a Pluto return, there is massive change, right? We know the Roman Empire fell during one of its Pluto returns. So this is the final time that Pluto will enter Capricorn, and this will finalize the United States' Pluto return as well. So we've got a lot of global energy going on. We've got a lot of individual energy happening, but this is a very pivotal time, I think, for all the waivers. First waivers, we are continuing to set the bar for raising the rest of the consciousness up, and for kind of paving the path for the remaining waivers to start their awakening, because it's not that we're ever running out of time. We're always on divine time, but you know, it's critical moments, and I think that it's time in so many ways. Like, we need to move forward. We need change. We need unity. We need co-creation. We need everyone to be on the same page. This is no longer working. How do we start aligning to the energy that is coming in, and how do we start co-creating the new earth? So I think this is going to be a super exciting window, and we are going to prepare absolutely for this window, because our hope and prayer, of course, is that all of you who have done the work, and it's been a struggle, and it has been absolutely tumultuous for so many of us, and the amount of just dedication and perseverance through this whole process has been a lot, and I hope and pray that everyone receives the blessings and the harvest that they have worked so hard for and earned, and just for, I think, for all of humanity to gain freedom, right? To exit this enslavement system and to gain freedom. That is what we want as a collective. So this is a very pivotal month for that. On September 2nd, so right after this occurs, Uranus is going to go retrograde, Pluto is going to enter the 29th degree. We have a new moon in Virgo. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of earthy energy the first week of September. Uranus in Taurus, Pluto in Capricorn, new moon in Virgo. So there's kind of a beautiful trine energy between these earth elements. And this new moon, Virgo, right, is the sign of alchemization. It is the sign of returning to the holistic ways of being. Virgo is holistic in every sense of the word. She is very in tune with the earth, with nature, with the body, and with the very practical sides of life. And Virgo helps us cleanse, clear, and detox on a very physical level. Virgo is related to the digestive system, so that's going to be a big theme this month as well. And basically, it's a great time to set intentions and also to do some clearing. And I said this in one of my updates recently, like, it sounds silly, but these are very simple, practical guidances that will really help us align to the energy this month. So around that new moon on the 2nd, it's a great time to cleanse your space, your home, your sacred space, to purge items that you no longer need, right? Donate them, pass them along to someone else who might need them. Things that just might no longer resonate with you, right? As we keep kind of moving up in vibration and moving to higher levels, there's just going to be certain things that we just no longer feel we need. They no longer have a vibrational match to us. So it's a great time to declutter, cleanse, organize, and this whole month will be really geared towards focusing on your personal health and wellness. So the first week of September is great to just kind of get your routine back in order a little bit. Whatever your health and wellness and spiritual routines are, really just get that back on track. And then we're going to have Mercury, who is retrograde all of August, is going to go back into Virgo. So we will have a lot of earthy energy this month, which I really do enjoy. And then in the middle of the month, we have our first eclipse. So we are preparing for eclipse season. Now, what is so interesting, I'm sorry, let me just mention one more thing about the new moon in Virgo, is that is going to be in Gene Key 40, which is actually one of the 7 seals of consciousness. And Gene Key 40 is a pivotal one, because the Siddhi is divine will. So that's very interesting, right? So big divine will energies that basically we are not in control. The divine will is coming in. Now the shadow of that gene key is exhaustion. And so again, you'll see this theme repeating when I get to the eclipse. But this energy this month is so much about just getting your life in order, getting your body in order, your emotional body, your physical body, your mental body, your space. Have it cleared, have it organized. If you are exhausted, if you feel like you've just been running on the hamster wheel, you need to take a break. You need to have rest. We need to prioritize health and wellness this month as a top priority. So it is also a great moon, again, to kind of, as mom would say, let love handle the details. Allow the divine and your angels and your guides to assist you and to help you. And kind of, we just need to get out of the way. We don't need to be pushing, and we just need to let things flow. If things are not working, you feel like you're hitting a wall, nothing seems to be working out, that's a time to pull back and reevaluate, because it typically means we are pushing in the wrong direction, or we are trying to push against the timing of something. So a lot of just divine timing happening with this month. Now, eclipse season. We are moving into the eclipses this fall. And the first eclipse will be on September 17th to the 18th. Now, what is fascinating about this eclipse is, for those of you familiar with astrology, typically we get the eclipses where the nodes are, meaning the north and the south node. However, just a little change up this month in that the full moon lunar eclipse, 17th and 18th, will actually fall into Pisces, which is the sister sign of Virgo. So the full moon will actually peak in Pisces. So the eclipse is going to last about 4 hours or so. But when the full moon actually peaks, it's going to be at 25 degrees Pisces, and then it will move into Aries by the end of that eclipse window. So really interesting. But again, the Virgo Pisces axis is obviously very highlighted here. So that axis is about metaphysics. It's about health and wellness. It's about holistic healing, spiritual healing. It's about surrender. It's about service as well. Virgo is in service to others, and Pisces is in service to the divine. So you can see these repeating themes. So it's going to be a lot about surrender. Now, this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces will be conjunct Neptune in Pisces, the cosmic mother. So there is a kind of prophetic feeling around this, because Neptune is prophetic. She rules things like prophecy. She rules things like miracles and synchronistic events and magic and things that are beyond the logical mind's understanding. So that eclipse being conjunct Neptune, and of course we also have Saturn in Pisces right now, it just feels like a prophetic moment. And that eclipse is going to fall into Gene Key 36. And this Gene Key is all about becoming human. It is about remembering that, yes, we are spiritual beings, we are galactic beings, but to remember our humanity. And this Gene Key deals a lot with, the shadow is turbulence. And it deals with basically the turbulence of human emotion, the kind of reactivity of human beings, and suffering in a lot of ways, right? And the Siddhi here is compassion. And so Richard Rudd talks, about this Gene Key as being like, it is through the turbulence and through suffering that we kind of gain compassion for ourselves and for other human beings, because we understand how hard it is to be in these human vessels and to be here doing this, and that suffering can actually bring us together as a humanity rather than divide us. So that's a really interesting Gene Key for that to fall in. And so we're going to see, of course, how that plays out. That will be right before, a few days before the fall equinox on the 21st. And so the equinox will, of course, also be a huge energetic date. We will then enter Libra season. So it's a really special month. There's something that feels very special about this, but of course, we are going to follow the guidance in terms of how to prepare for this harvest portal. And so looking at these themes, especially this axis of Virgo and Pisces, which I know very well, and it requires so much surrender. It requires so much purging and releasing and letting go. And I just believe that is divinely timed, because we are truly being asked this month to make total space for our dreams to come into fruition, for new earth to come more into manifestation. And we have to get out of the way. And we sometimes don't realize how many things are in the way, right? It's like, when you have clutter, right? This is just like the basic example. When you have clutter and there's so much stuff everywhere, you can't receive anything new. There's no space for it. And so physically and energetically and spiritually, that's what we're going to do this month. And so, as I've recommended to everyone that I've been doing sessions with, and those who had joined the seminars last month, I had recommended that if you feel guided to just do a ceremony, especially this first week of September, and again, really making peace and closure with the last 16 years of your life. It's a lot. We have to forgive ourselves, all others, and all events. That it's a great mantra to use, and you can include that in ceremonies. I forgive myself, all others, and all events. And honestly, to shift it to gratitude for what we've learned. Gratitude for, I think, the strength that we developed through this journey, because Lord knows it took a lot of strength to get here. And so we can kind of look back and be grateful for what has brought us here, and we have to forgive and let it all go. Any old grief, resentments, anything we are still attaching to from the past, because the other thing we want to do is not bring in any suffering from that cycle into the new cycle, and we also don't want to bring in fear from that cycle, right? Like a lot of times I think it's just a natural response. We kind of have this fear of the same things happening again, the same things repeating, or fear that like things are never going to get better, they're never going to change, it's never going to get easier. And I think we need to let go of those perspectives so that we can embrace a new perspective, that it is possible that things can become better, they can become a little bit more effortless, and that we can experience joy, and that it's not all suffering. And making peace with that will really like make space, and really reflecting again on just the karmic contracts that we're wrapping up and completing, and we're really aligning now to our destinies, and it's time for that, right? So some announcements of just the events that and the sessions that we're going to have this month for those of you who are guided to them. So first off, we are going to, of course, be having our monthly light body maintenance seminar. And we are going to be doing that on the 9/9 portal of completion. This is like the birthing portal. This is the completion portal. And as I mentioned last month, our goal was to reach 90% stabilizations with the light body last month around 8/8, which we did hit. And then we shared that the remaining 10% stabilization was going to be slow. It was going to run through the rest of the year, because once you get to that last 10%, there's a lot that might need to readjust and come up and be healed, etc. So we're not going to rush the rest of this process. We're going to be aiming to stabilize at about 93% this month. And we're going to be putting a huge focus during this light body maintenance on the nervous system. And excuse me. And this is because kind of on the back of this closing out of this 16-year cycle, even though we've done a ton of healing and a ton of transformation, the karmic residue is still lying in the nervous system. And that's not our fault. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the amount of trauma that humanity has gone through over this 27,000 years is immense. And so the fight or flight and the fear, those residues are still lying in the nervous system, right? Because we've had to still constantly be dealing with the lower energies, the dark energies. We deal with, the opposition of that energy all of the time. We've gone through so many challenges and so many initiations, and in many ways the nervous system is completely burnt out. Again, this is kind of aligning with that new moon in Virgo with the shadow of exhaustion. So we're going to be focusing on specifically nervous system healing to really get the nervous system into a relaxed state, during this light body maintenance, because we have to heal that nervous system again so that we can be prepared to receive the harvest, right? Because the thing that we don't realize a lot of times is that when your nervous system is used to suffering, lack, constant loss, grief, all of these things, when you finally receive blessings, or you receive abundance, or you receive help, or whatever it might be, the nervous system can actually reject that, because it's almost the idea of like, this is too good to be true. And so the nervous system will actually reject that because it's not used to it and it's not prepared for it. So in order to make sure we are totally prepared to be able to receive, we're going to be focusing on nervous system healing, and also, of course, just making sure we're maintaining. We're going to be talking, of course, about the light body maintenance report for this month and just some additional guidances on what we can do to help stabilize ourselves. But that's going to be a really big one on the 9/9 portal. So if you guys are guided to join us for that seminar, you can RSVP for that. And then the second seminar that we're going to do this month is going to be a detox seminar for the eclipse. I feel this is imperative because, again, especially lying in Pisces, Pisces is so much about emptying out. Like, Pisces is really this like totally empty vessel, and Pisces like doesn't hold on to anything. It's just in total, like, it's a sponge. It just absorbs and releases and absorbs and releases. And I think to really be prepared, again, physically, energetically, and spiritually, we need to go through kind of a final detox. So this is going to be a week-long detox. We're going to have 3 classes during that week, but it will be a week-long detox. So we're going to be just guiding the group through a detox of your choice. There's, different ways to detox, so whatever resonates for you. But everyone who signs up, you will get our detox workbook guide, and also a guide about ascension symptoms and kind of how to manage those, and also know when like something is an ascension symptom or something is actually a physical problem that requires healing and requires, some type of external healing most of the time. So everybody will receive that, and we'll be talking a lot about health and wellness during this detox seminar. So the first class will be on September 14th. This will be the introduction to the detox, and we will be going through the detox workbook, the guidance for the week, and we're also going to be doing a meditation to start flushing the system out. The next one is going to be on the 16th, which will be the day before the eclipse. And during this one, we're going to talk about metaphysics. We're going to talk about how to understand the root causes of different symptoms that you might get, and how to identify what the root cause is, how to understand the metaphysics of your body. And then, of course, tools and techniques of how to go about like transforming those things and basically assisting yourself with self-healing. And then we're also, of course, again, going to do a meditation to flush the chakras specifically. And then on the 20th, which will be after the eclipse, but the day before the equinox, we are going to talk about ascension symptoms, how to manage them, what the body sometimes, the symptoms that are presenting, what does that mean? What is the body doing? So we can kind of work with the body in a more intelligent way and understand when we go through different cycles of symptoms, what the body is doing. And again, discerning between that and when there is an actual problem that requires healing. And then we're also, of course, going to be talking about preparing your spaces, your physical spaces for the harvest, which will begin October 1st. And then a final meditation to basically prepare our energetic fields to receive. So looking forward to that. It's definitely going to be, I think, really beautiful just during the eclipse and the equinox. So we're going to do that. And then we also now have available, for those of you who have asked, one-on-one light body activation sessions. So Faith is doing them. So if you are guided to do a one-on-one, she is doing those with everybody and basically going through every part of your energetic system, your auric field, and just going into any areas where there is density, where there feels like there's a blockage, where there's wounding, and helping to guide you through releasing that on your own so that you can also know how to do that moving forward, and to clear again as much as you can for that light body to be totally open, to be able to integrate the light codes, and again, becoming galactic humans. So our light bodies need to be functioning optimally. So that is what we have going for September. And finally, I just wanted to thank everybody who signed up for our Givers Gathering directory. So for those of you who are not aware, one of our humanitarian projects is the Givers Gathering Co-op. And our kind of vision is just to help people start to come together, to connect for gatherings, events, start building communities, start creating support networks, all of that. And so right now you can get to that site from our home site, 5D Full Disclosure. If you go under the projects tab, you will see the link to get to Givers Gathering. And so basically what we did this month was we asked everybody, if you are looking to connect with other people in your areas, and again, our kind of vision for this was, if you are just looking to have like-hearted souls and to connect with like-hearted people in your areas, I think it's just really good for everybody to have a few contacts, that just in case you ever need support, you ever need anything, and if you feel to connect and start collaborating together, or creating community together, that's awesome too. So if you would like to be listed on our directory, basically you will register there. We are keeping the directory ourselves. It's not public. It won't be on the website, so your information is not shared publicly at all. But anytime we get a request for contacts in a certain area, we will send whatever contacts we have in the directory. And so we've been getting a lot of matches with people in certain areas. So if you do want to register for that, please do. And of course, if you are looking for people in your area, please send us a message on the website. And as soon as we have somebody in your area that might be a match, we will give you their contact, and everybody can just start connecting as they feel guided to. So happy September, everybody. Happy Harvest Portal. I'm so excited for this. Do I feel that shit is going to get very chaotic? Yes. Do I also feel that this is going to get really grand for the first waivers? Yes, I do. So happy Harvest Portal. I love you all so much. And I will be back soon with some more updates.